what would it look like if we could work 3 days a week and then take 1 week off per month? And sure enough, within, I want to say like 6 months, I was hitting that 3 by 3 schedule, and we had doubled our revenue. And I remember meeting with my financial advisor earlier this year, and he was like, "What is going on? Like, what did you do?" And I'm like, I decided that this is the life that I want to have. And then I reverse engineered it using technology, using team, using systems, and using my vision for what I desired. And we made it happen.
Welcome to the Superhuman Selling Podcast. I have a question for you today. What if you could double your business while also reducing your workload to 3 days a week, 3 weeks out of the month? Well, my guest today has done it, and today she's going to tell you how. So, Allison, I am so excited to have you here. I'm going to share with everyone your background and your bio. We have such an amazing opportunity today to learn from a phenomenal woman, a phenomenal entrepreneur. My guest is Allison Lacoursiere. She is a visionary leadership coach, a business strategist, and the founder of Clear Coaching Ltd, where she helps business owners scale through smart systems and innovative growth strategies. As an ICF certified coach and high performance consultant, she specializes in helping entrepreneurs optimize operations, increase revenue, and build sustainable success through clarity, confidence, and leadership excellence. Allison is passionate about guiding professionals to achieve more with less effort, creating ease and abundance through strategic business transformation. Oh my gosh. Hello. Welcome. How are you?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here with you, and I'm so excited for this conversation today.
I am too. And what's fun about this is there's so many different ways that we could approach the conversation. What I want to do is start off just by teeing up kind of how this whole, how this program that we're running together came about, which we're going to share a little bit more about today, Ease and Abundance with AI, and just also hear more about your journey and how you have increased revenue so significantly while also leaning into lifestyle and feminine energy, which I know a lot of our listeners really resonate with. So, little backstory, Allison is one of our certified consultants, and we were at a consultant event in December. And we're all sitting around this table in this really cool kind of vibey conference room because she sells it's got to be vibey.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly what spawned it, but something came up where, Allison, you just mentioned some of the things you've been doing with AI. And the whole room paused. I mean, you got a group of, I don't know, it was like 8, 9 women.
Yeah.
And for the whole room to get quiet and pause and everyone lean in and say, what? What are you doing? It was pretty compelling. And so you started to just walk through really just a few simple things you've been doing, a few simple workflows, and the way that women implemented right away what you were teaching and grew and scaled was incredible. And it led to the creation of a program that we've been running now within the community.
Yeah.
Just finished up our first cohort as we record this, Ease and Abundance with AI. You've been facilitating it. I've been co-leading, doing more of the mindset piece, which you're also brilliant at. And the growth that we've seen is astronomical with
Mhm.
it's open to men and women. It's been all women so far, which has been fun too. But the way people are growing and scaling with this information is huge. And I had a lot of resistance to AI, which maybe some listeners can relate to. I thought it seemed really heavy, really masculine, not sexy, like none of that. But the way that you teach it is very feminine energy.
Mhm.
And it's been transformational. We've grown tremendously as a company. We've grown as a team. We're getting things done faster and easier. And so today, I wanted to bring you on just to share more about kind of how your success journey has evolved, how you have implemented AI in a feminine energy way to stay aligned, to increase your free time, and to simultaneously double your revenue working less. And we'll talk about how other people can do that too. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Let's do
it's
it.
funny how even just yesterday in our community, we had one of our community members who has taken the course, and she's like, Allison, I get it. I understand why this program is called Ease and Abundance. Like, I didn't think that at first when I was like, this is an AI course, but she's like, I get it. Like, this makes our life easier and more abundant. So
Mm,
it's been such a joy to facilitate this. And yeah, I'm so happy to answer the questions of how this got started for me and all of the things that this journey has really taken me on.
absolutely. Well, and I think that there's a myth out there, right, in the business world that more effort equals more results. And so I'm curious to hear your perspective on that. I mean, you're a former elite athlete. Now you work with entrepreneurs and high performers in business, but it's not about overwork, right? And that's not what we're teaching here. So for you, what shifted your mindset along your journey about how success is actually created?
Yeah, such a good question. I like work. I really do. I enjoy my work. I enjoy, putting in work, but I realize that work doesn't make you successful. Like you can be working really hard and it can feel really hard. And, at the early stage of my career in entrepreneurship, I had this like narrative or this rhetoric that I think sometimes we're taught that like you got to just go through the hustle, you just got to go through the grind. And I tried that. And it was okay and we achieved a certain amount of success. But I think when my success metric changed from like achievement and kind of external validation to true joy and connection, that's when I'm like, no, this gets to be different for me. And I get to figure this out in a different way. And so I really shifted my mindset to creating my metric for success, joy. The
Wow.
more the better I'm doing, the more joy I have. And what does my life look like if joy is what I'm working towards? If joy is what I get to experience more often. And it really changed the lens on how I'm spending my days, how I'm spending my time, what I'm saying yes to, what I'm saying no to. But it also made me realize that I want more time to do the things that I love. I want more time to have spacious mornings. I want more time to be with my loved ones. And that got me to kind of figure out that problem. I'm like, how do I solve for this then? How do I still create the abundance, still create the business that I desire, but with the metric that I'm looking for of joy?
Mm.
And that caused me to go down a whole kind of figure this out of how do I be more efficient with my time. And thankfully, around that time, I had really started to optimize AI systems. So I got to see that, one output doesn't mean one creation. It was like one output creates so many things in the AI world. And I also realized that AI is an amplifier of us as individuals. And I hear this all the time from entrepreneurs. I wish I could just multiply myself. I wish I could clone myself. And I'm like, well, you kind of can now. And so I started to figure out the systems to allow myself to make more impact with less effort. And
Mm.
it took my business in a completely different place. It took my team in a completely different place. And it took my life, most importantly, in a completely different place. And
Wow.
that's where the 3 by 3 schedule came in. That's where being able to open up time, like I'm leaving for Portugal on Saturday to spend a week off with my partner, things like that started to happen way more often for me. But my work and my business didn't slow down and
Mm.
it didn't suffer in any way.
Incredible. And one of the things that you speak about is systems that help support your nervous system, which I think
Mhm.
is so important. You know, the community who listens to this show, they're conscious, they're awake, they understand that as we up level, we get to also recalibrate our nervous system to another level. But I'd love for you to speak a little bit more about that. Why is that important for someone who's maybe really doing the work in a feminine energy standpoint of, hey, I'm doing all the things to up level my financial frequency. I'm recalibrating to new levels. I'm playing with feminine energy and ease, maybe for the first time. How do we build these systems to help support our nervous system like you have? And we'll get into your 3 by 3 schedule in a minute. And why does that matter?
Oh my gosh, yes. There is, as an entrepreneur or even somebody in corporate, I feel like there's a belief often that it should be a certain way, or there has to be certain things in place that, like, this is how it's done. And what I've learned and what I've helped so many entrepreneurs give themselves permission for is to make it work for them. because when we make our schedule work for us, we get to stay in flow, we get to stay in ease, we get to stay in creativity. Anytime we're forcing something, it's likely because we're operating out of a narrative that wasn't really ours, or it just simply doesn't work for us, and everyone's different. And so that's the first step, is really asking yourself, how do I work best? What time of day, what time of the month, what, energy, what location, where do I bring my most creative energy, and explore that about yourself. And then build systems around that. And I know that even in our Ease and Abundance group, this cohort, as soon as I said the word systems, I got some like, whoa, 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 like, what do you mean? On the other side of it, we heard women say, this has set me free. This has been the most supportive thing that I've ever created. I wish I would have known this 10 years ago. And really, the reason for that is systems allow you to repeat your greatness. They allow you, if you want to accomplish something once, you set a goal. But if you want to accomplish something repetitively with ease, you build a system. And
Mm.
it's feminine because it's supported by masculine. And so when you have those systems, they're very masculine, but they support you to be in your best feminine.
Mm.
Because if we're constantly thinking about like, what do we need to do next? Is this done? Have we done these tasks? That pulls us out of our feminine and into almost a scarcity. But if we have the systems in place that allow us to be supported by our team and our technology, then we don't have to even think about it. We just get to be. And there are so many times in my business now where I'm looking at my calendar and I'm like, oh, well, that's just getting done. I'm not doing it. Someone else is, because I set that up as a system. And it feels so freeing for me to even be amplified into my kind of higher and best thoughts, my higher and best energy, my higher and best creativity, because I'm being so myself, and the systems are there to support me in that.
It's so good. And we spoke about this yesterday. You were on the call with our 10K Club community, and we were working on actually healing masculine energy in everyone. And we had a good mixed audience on that call of men and women. And that is one of the things that I've learned and that I've seen is that every next level we want to go to in our business, it requires both an amplification of your feminine and your masculine energy.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe someone's listening and they're at 10K months and they want to go to 100K months, for example. There's a higher amount of feminine that's required in that, receiving, allowing, flow, expansion, feelings of abundance. And then there's also a higher level of systems, which is the masculine energy that gets to support you in that. So I think a lot of times, especially in like the female entrepreneur, female sales professional community, there can be almost a over lean into feminine because we're so burnt out from like
Yeah.
over lean into masculine for a long time. But it's really about both. It's about
Yes.
the marriage of both. And I know that you've done that. And I'd love to have you speak a little bit to the 3x3 schedule that you're working now and how it's doubled your revenue, because you've integrated both of those more powerfully to create this kind of like dream schedule and dream life that I think a lot of people listening would say, oh my gosh, I would love that. So maybe speak to what a 3x3 schedule is for someone who's not aware. And then how in the world have you doubled your revenue this year while also working that?
Yes. Oh my gosh. So this is a fun story, really. Around a year and a half ago, I met like my dream partner, and truly like soulmate energy, absolute love of my life. And it was the first time in my business. I've been an entrepreneur for 5 years. It was the first time in my business where something was more interesting to me than my business. And I still love my business. I still loved what I was doing. I loved my impact. But it was this really interesting experience where I'm like, holy smokes, I really want to spend more time with this person. And we sat down one time, we mapped out our schedule. He's a speaker and a consultant. He's a busy schedule as well. We mapped out our schedule on the wall and we were like, what do we want? What do we desire? And we both agreed that we wanted more time for adventure. We both love to hike. We love to travel. We love to explore. And we mapped out, okay, what would it look like if we could work 3 days a week and then take 1 month off per 1 week off per month? And at that time, my schedule would not have afforded that. In fact, I was traveling to speak almost every weekend. I was working often, in the evenings. I had events in the evenings. But with that in mind, like that was like, who is the Allison that can have a 3 by 3 schedule? I started to solve for that and I started to create those systems and the support and the structures of my business. So every day I would wake up and I would say, what is of support of that new life and what isn't? And what I didn't realize at the time was that there was a lot of letting go that got to happen, things that weren't in alignment for me anymore, things that really didn't, they suited old version of Allison, but not the new 3 by 3 version of Allison. And it was almost like I set this impossible goal for myself that I started to move towards. And sure enough, within, I want to say like 6 months, I was hitting that 3 by 3 schedule and we had doubled our revenue. And I remember meeting with my financial advisor earlier this year and he's like, "What is going on? Like what did you do?" And I'm like, "I decided that this is the life that I want to have." And then I reverse engineered it using technology, using team, using systems and using my vision for what I desired and we made it happen. And so of course, we know this, and anyone that listening in your community knows this. When we're going through that kind of quantum leap, it can feel a little bit uncomfortable. I had to make some, you know, empowered decisions, some courageous decisions. And I had to get really crystal clear on who am I and what is my purpose and how do I want to be spending my time. But that laser focus allowed me to really up level and bring in the clients that I desired, ask for the things that I wanted in bigger and better ways. And it allowed me to really like up level into the woman that I wanted to be. The other thing that happened during that time was I started your consultancy certification. And because I'm like, well, I only have 3 days a week to work, I'm going to go all in on this curriculum. I'm going to go all in on this. I'm going to do all of the things at 100%, which I think old Allison would have been like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to dabble here and try all these things. But I was like, I'm all in. I just don't have that much time anymore. And that allowed me to really get into the mindset and into the support and into the, I mean, strategies really of building this company in a really powerful way. And I remember you said to me, I was like, Elyse, I can't remember. I think I said I wanted to make my last year's income monthly. And you're like, yeah, just become the woman who can do that. And I took that and I like wrote about it and I journaled on it and I like got so crystal clear on who this woman was. And by acting as if it was done, it started to happen. So it's been such a cool journey and I have learned so much about myself. But most importantly, like I truly love my life and my business and my schedule right now. I have so much fun. And I almost feel like I have to like give myself permission to say that because I'm like, it's true. I was shopping yesterday. I was, hanging out. And I know, sometimes that like me hearing that a year or two ago maybe would have like triggered me. But what I want women or men who are on this listening to know is that it really is possible. Like this doesn't just get to be for me, it gets to be for anybody that can put these things into place and knows exactly where they want to go.
And I think what I love so much about what you shared, and one of my favorite parts about the program and coming off of this first cohort and going into our next one this fall, is that it is that integration of the feminine and masculine. And you said something really important when you were talking about how you've doubled your revenue working less time, which was it started with a decision. And it
Mhm.
started with looking at who do I need to be in order for that to happen. And so one of the things that we teach and that we know in this community is that your results will never supersede your identity. And so you asked yourself that powerful question of who do I need to be in order to have this? And then what systems are going to help support me in doing this? So it's just, again, I think for those of you listening, you're going to hear it's this integration of the masculine and the feminine that I think makes this work so powerful,
Mhm.
and that you've embodied
Mhm.
as you've doubled and you're continuing to grow and continuing to increase and living a more spacious lifestyle too. What
Mhm.
have you seen? I'm curious from your perspective, what are some of your favorite shifts that you've seen with the group who's been going through the first cohort of Ease and Abundance with AI? Like, what are some of the biggest things you've seen that have been fun?
There's so many. Honestly, almost daily, I see in that group just such an expansion. One of them is that the women in the community, I feel like they went from an entrepreneur identity to a CEO identity. and they're hiring team. And one of the biggest and best decisions that I've done as an early entrepreneur was hire support even before I was ready. Because again, in many of the kind of workspaces that we're in or the businesses that we're in, there is a level of not being able to duplicate yourself, but you can sure as heck be supported in what you're doing. And that I see sometimes women are a little resistant to that. Like, I'm going to do it all myself. I'm going to just take it all on. And then it dulls their light and dims the thing that really does move the needle. And so I feel like, I mean, 4 or 5 women have hired team and have brought on support for themselves. They're like, I'm ready, let's go. And so that's been a really beautiful thing because I know sometimes there's a little bit of resistance to that. I think the second thing too is the way we are talking about systems now. It's like systems are sexy and they're fun. And the amount that I'm seeing women are like, I launched my podcast. I've been sitting on leaving my corporate career to start my business. I did that and I replaced my income within 2 months. I have started showing up on social media in bigger, better ways. I have been able to negotiate with my landlord, with my attorney, with my business partner in better ways. I've been able to plan my trip in, 10 seconds flat using AI. It's been so much fun to see the creativity that has come out of this group, the expansiveness, and also I feel like just overall what they see as a possibility for themselves. That has been just such an incredible gift from my perspective as a coach to watch them like open their eyes to their own possibility.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's so fun because it's been expansion in every area of life.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sitting on a one of our other group coaching calls a couple of weeks ago with one of the women who did replace her corporate income so quickly with this material. And her just saying, like, wholeheartedly, it was this program, this course, it was what she learned. And the other thing that's been fun too is we've got some members in there who are in corporate.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I'd love maybe if you want to speak for a minute to for our listeners who are in corporate selling, who are currently W-2 or working as contractors, like how does this apply to them? What are some of the shifts you've seen with women in corporate and maybe speaking to that side as well?
100%. So, a couple of things that I've seen with the women that have been in corporate. One of them is that their ability to map out their like 90-day strategy with so much ease, so much clarity, and know exactly the next needle mover to take, but also to find the technology and the tools to support them in taking massive action with greater ease. That has been something that I've seen for the women that are working for a company. The other thing that I've seen is their ability to create systems for their team has been astounding. I mean, we can build a full playbook for a whole team in not a lot of time anymore. And for them to be able to do that, they've now stepped back from some of the roles that they've taken and elevated. They've been able to find their voice in certain situations that they were kind of like trying to figure out what to say, how to handle, and really ultimately be able to spend their time on the things that matter the most. And so I remember one session where one of the ladies came on and she was like literally like screaming. She was so excited. And she's like, Allison, like this helped me find my voice. Like this helped me be who I am. Because again, like it's an amplifier. And so when we take this material that we teach in the She Sells community and all of this mindset and all of these like really powerful concepts and we infuse it with AI, it's incredible what comes from that.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. I just love seeing the growth, the results, the impact. And to your point of it's an amplifier.
Mhm.
So for anyone listening who would love to reclaim so much time back in their days, but also have way more powerful results with what they're doing, I feel like this is the solution. I feel like this is the way to go. So obviously on a podcast, this is evergreen. People are going to be listening to this down the road as well. And so we're going to speak for a minute about something we have coming up that is time sensitive. And whenever you are listening to this, I know that you got so much out of this, and I would still go check out the pages we're about to reference because very likely there's going to be something for you or something coming up or a replay that you can check out as well. But I want to speak for a minute to the both the upcoming course that we have on this as well as the free class we've got coming up. So we're going to be launching our second cohort of Ease and Abundance with AI in August of 2025, if you were listening to this in real time. And coming up at the end of July, we're going to be hosting a free training where you can dig in and learn more about what we spoke about today, receive support. Do you want to share just a little bit about what someone can expect coming up in the free masterclass and then the program as well?
Yes. So the free masterclass, we're going to give you actionable takeaways. So one of the things I see is that for anybody that has any resistance to AI, first and foremost, like we validate it. Anything new and different can feel a little bit scary. Change can in itself be a little bit scary. But when we look at AI through the lens of abundance, of ease, and how it gets to be your partner within your workforce, within your business, it's like your teammate. That alone will teach you how to think about it differently and then how to get results differently. So in that masterclass, we're going to go through some foundational concepts of AI, but then we're going to give you some actions and some prompts and some workflows to actually go through so that by the end of that masterclass, you have gotten some really great clarity and you've gotten a needle mover forward on your business and your life. So it's going to be like a workshop, truly, but also a better, I would say, just a different perspective on the utilization of AI for your life and business.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so fun because the last one that we did, there was so much value for everyone, regardless of whether they ended up joining us in the program or not beyond that. But real actionable tips, strategies, like you said, needle movers that'll help grow your business, grow your sales, and just I think for everyone listening, we are all driven, we are all ambitious, we have big goals, big dreams, big visions for our life. And one of the things that I appreciate most about this material and being able to be there and help co-facilitate with you has been to see visions expanded. So I want everyone listening just to think about right now, you probably have a sense of what you'd love to accomplish or create before the end of the year as you're listening to this, or anytime you're listening. And I want you to think about doubling that, tripling that, quadrupling that, even 10xing that, just allowing yourself to vision and dream even bigger because this free training is going to help give you the how of that. It's going to help expand your mind infinitely in terms of what's possible for you and in a much shorter amount of time. So we'll link everything in the show notes, but it's ai.elysearcher.com for anyone who wants to go register. Again, the masterclass is completely free, ai.elysearcher.com, and it's going to be transformational. Is there anything lingering that you want to say, anything you want to share with the community, anything I haven't asked you before we wrap for today?
Yeah, I would just say that I know that AI, there's so many like narratives around it. There's so many like thoughts around it. This community brings a different lens to it
Mhm.
and a different perspective that I feel is very unique. It's very feminine and it's here. I mean, AI is here to stay. And so if you have any resistance, if you're like, "Oh, I don't even know if I want to do it, this is a really good place to dip your toe in, to get comfortable with it, to really learn and understand it for yourself because I like to share this example. It's almost like the internet has come out and we're choosing not to use it. And if you can imagine the way that you have used the internet today for your business, for your life, for your own expansion, it's profound. And this is a similar moment in time and in history where we now have a tool that gets to amplify us. And if we're choosing not to use it, it's almost like we're choosing not to use the internet. And so I would love to empower anyone, their teams, their company, their organization to come and just get curious and to be present in that call because it will allow you to feel a very empowered approach to this technology that ultimately could change a lot of things in your life and business.
It's so true. And the one other thing I'll add into that before we wrap, because you just reminded me of something, is that it's been really fun because the community that we've been supporting spans the spectrum from people who have
Mm-hmm.
maybe never used AI
Mm-hmm.
before to people who came in saying, "Hey, I'm already like a mega user," and yet they have found so many new ways to implement AI to save time, to increase revenue. I didn't even mention at the beginning of this that you're certified through MIT to
Yeah.
teach this. So you want to get cutting edge training and teaching in AI, you want to come here and learn from Allison and learn from our group. So it's going to be phenomenal. Again, ai.elysearcher.com. We want to see you there. We want to support you. and come in and learn how to quantum leap. So, Allison, thank you for being here today. Thank you for the work you do. I love you and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. All right, my friend, you can go get registered for the training now. We cannot wait to see you there. And I want to just remind you to trust yourself on your path to success. Your desires are green lights leading you and everyone around you to a brighter future. I'll see you on the next episode.